Wait, a pistol optic for under $85? There's no way that could actually survive a range session, is there? Well, hey everyone, and welcome back to Tactical Review. So in this box, I have a micro red dot that I saw it and I thought there's no way that at that price point they can have a decent product. And I've been thinking about it, and I decided that somebody needs to test that. And then I realized that I'm somebody, and that's exactly what I started Tactical Review to do. So what I have in here is the 4MOA UTG Reflex Micro Dot. I have this one in green, and that's simply because that's what was available at the time I placed my order. These can be had for under $100. As a matter of fact, oftentimes well under $100. And the red dot version can be had for sometimes under $75. And because this does not use an RMR footprint, I can't mount that on my Brownell slide that's on my EDC. Not to mention the fact that I wouldn't put a dot that hasn't been trusted on my EDC. So what I picked up was a dovetail mounting plate that claims to be compatible with my Glock slide, and we are going to mount this guy on here. So let's get this box out of the way. We'll bring the camera in. We're going to check out what's in this box and see about putting this on here and this on here. Alrighty, before we open this up, again, this is a 4MOA green dot. It has 6 power settings, 1 MOA per click windage and elevation adjustment, and then it's made from, I believe it's 7075 aluminum, and like most inexpensive optics, made in China, in this case for a US company. So let's see what we've got in here. So like a lot of micro red dots, it does come pre-mounted on a 1913 adapter. So you could use this on any kind of firearm that you might need a super low co-witness. Some thoughts that come to mind would be like AKs that use a more inline stock adapter, such as an M4 stock adapter, whereas the traditional AK-47 stock has a little bit of a slope. I found that that by the time you have that M4 stock getting you up a little higher, you kind of want a lower profile optic, in my opinion, on AKs. Also, pistols such as the Kel-Tec, I believe it's the P33, their 22 caliber 33 round handgun has a complete monolithic pick rail on the top. Work fantastic like that. They do make dovetail mounts like this that have a 1913 section on the top. Again, I don't necessarily recommend for long-term or for a carry option using an adapter plate like this, but for 20 to 50 bucks, it may be a fantastic way to decide whether or not you even like a dot on a pistol. Anyway, feels like all aluminum construction, and just get into it a little bit further. It does come with 2 batteries, uses a standard CR2032, which probably means, in fact, I'd be willing to bet that it means that you do have to unmount the optic to change your battery. Comes with a little screwdriver for adjusting your windage and elevation. Comes with a lens cloth. Comes with the requisite Torx wrench for mounting and unmounting, and also the hex wrench, the hex key for tightening down your base mount. And it comes with 2 spare Torx screws for your mounting plate. And out of the box, these screws are actually fairly loose, it seems like. Probably by virtue of the fact that they know that you're going to have to install a battery. Right. There is a really good gasket all the way around the battery compartment. In theory, it's going to give you a good weather-tight seal. There is, in fact, a magnet in that battery base. That's a really nice feature, actually. And it's just a simple click through your 6 brightness settings. And obviously, with an optic at this price point, you will not have any kind of night vision compatible settings. So once again, we have to have a way to mount said optic. And I don't think the duct tape's going to work. So I am going to attempt to drift out my rear sight and get this dovetail installed. We'll see how it goes. I do not have a Glock rear sight tool, and so none of this might make it in the final edit. We shall see. Okay, don't be like me. Pick yourself up a sight pusher or find somebody who has one. But I did get the rear sight out with a hammer and a punch. Alright, well, just remember when you're ordering stuff off of Amazon, not just accessories for range day, but about anything you might order off of Amazon, a lot of times Amazon cross-references the questions across a lot of similar products. And so just because something in the question says, does this work for a Glock, doesn't mean it works for a Glock. Thankfully, Amazon Prime shipping got me the proper mounting plate, and now we're going to get back into this. Alright, so the dovetail portion of this particular ADE mounting plate fits in snugly, but not to the point where you would need like a sight pusher or something to put it in. So you want to kind of eyeball it for center, and then the actual mounting plate is curved to match the profile of the factory Glock slide. So it's going to help finish centering your dovetail. So we're going to make sure to get some purple Loctite on this. Again, with the diameter of the screws, I wouldn't go with anything more permanent or more aggressive chemically, I guess, than Loctite blue. But purple is probably the ideal for this side of, or this size rather, of screw. And this mounting plate did not come with any kind of instructions in the packaging, so I'm going on the dovetail here with that old classic German torque setting of Gutentight. It's just Phillips head screws, so be careful not to strip out the head, but do get it tight enough, because this is going to be subjected to all of the recoil forces of the slide, so you want to definitely make sure to have it snug down enough to where you're not going to be getting an optic to the face, hopefully. And in case I haven't said it enough, I don't find this solution to be the most ideal. However, it was a way for me to test an optic with a footprint that I did not have a slide cut for, and you may find it as a great way to decide whether or not you even like having a red dot on your pistol. Now again, with the UTG red dot, or green dot, excuse me, we will not be using the included pick rail adapter, but we will be using the included screws rather than the ones that came with the mounting plate adapter. I believe that the ones that came with the mount plate adapter are going to be just a touch too long for the application. So make sure again that you already have your battery installed, and then you're going to line up the posts on the corner with your sockets in the dot, and then that will of course line up your screw holes. Now, in the included instructions, it gives torque specifications both for the 1913 adapter mounting screw, and then for the mounting screws that mount the dot down to either this base plate or whether it's your actual cut slide or like an MOS plate on a Glock MOS, any pre-cut or plate adapted solution. These screws are to be torqued to 12 inch-pounds. Again, they're very small screws, and due to that, once again, we're going to be using purple Loctite in this application. Dab Loctite down in the threads, as well as on the threads of the machine screw. I do feel like I'm having to cant my wrists down really far, and I don't know if that is a function of the dot not having any kind of base level 0 from the factory, or what. The window seems rather small, but honestly, till I have an opportunity to put some rounds through it, I can't even begin to start getting any kind of impressions about it. Seems like a relatively solid little dot, but we're going to have to do some stressing on it. I will say, having to use this dovetail mount absolutely makes it a skyscraper on the back of the handgun. Certainly not the low profile that I've gotten used to with my direct mount 507C on my Brownell slide. So let's get out to the range, and we will get some rounds underneath this. Well, we'll get this optic zeroed, and we'll get some rounds underneath it, and get some first impressions and wrap it up. Well, we've had time now, some trigger time with this UTG Pro Red Dot. I zeroed it at 10 yards. I talked about that a little bit more in my Hollison video as to why I chose 10 yards. We're not going to rehash that here. I zeroed it using 180 grain 40 caliber. My initial thought was that I had some 40 cal laying around that really not using, and I was thinking that that might give a little bit of an increased slide velocity, more stress to the optic. We ended up swapping it back to my Storm Lake 9mm conversion barrel, and we ran 150 rounds of 9mm.
Yeah, I would probably say about maybe 250.
250.
Yeah.
We got out here playing. We didn't really count, but so we've put not tons of ammunition underneath this. Thoughts I have on it: number one, daylight bright is questionable at best.
It sucks.
Yeah,
really sucks.
You can pick it up in full daylight, but you've really got to work on it. And with it being a simple dot instead of, as I've discussed before, I like the circle dot reticle. It makes it that much harder to pick up. UTG says that you'll get about 20,000 hours on a battery charge at medium brightness, which if you don't want to do the math, I've done it for you, that's 833 days. So I would estimate that you get a little over 400 days at max brightness. What I'm probably going to do with this one is leave it on max brightness and change the battery once a year. I've become spoiled with motion activated red dots. Those are my preference. This doesn't have that, but it's got long enough battery life, allegedly, that it should be fine to just leave it on. It seems as though at the end of those couple hundred rounds, zero did shift to the right a little bit. Once again, with it not being a direct mill, with it having this mounting plate in here,
it could have been harder.
Yeah, we've got some tolerance stacking going on here.
But I mean, I did drop it on the freaking ground.
Yeah.
I did kick it around a little bit.
Should be. Yeah, you know.
Hey, we're supposed to check durability, right? Oops.
You know. It is a $70 to $85 dot. I'm going to say for a range toy.
I was about ready to say, do you just want me to say it, or are you just going to take all day?
I'm going to, I'll take all day.
Don't get it for personal defense. Get
Right.
something that's going to work.
Right. I'm going to say it. If you're looking for a pistol dot on a budget, plan that you're going to spend a couple $100 and buy Hollison.
Like, in all honesty, I could see applications for competition. I could also see applications for maybe like, oh crap, there's somebody breaking into my house and it's like ass crack of midnight, where that brightness level is not going to matter.
Right.
But for actually carrying it every day and
Right.
then like the probability of it just like shifting because of just jolting around or something like that, I wouldn't trust it. That's just me. But I mean, if we've talked about this before, you get what you pay for. And
Yep.
personally, I wouldn't spend $70 on it to carry it. I would get something a little bit better.
Right. So if you've got something that's a range toy that you need a small form factor dot, I'm thinking something that you want, something low profile like the lever gun.
Right.
Now, again, since you're talking about using it for defense, I wouldn't put it on that. But for something you want low profile, I might leave it on that pick rail mount and use that.
Yeah, like I'm saying,
But-
what you said anyway, a good range toy, or going to a Saturday shoot, just having something to go out to the range at Saturday shoot, maybe competition, something where your life isn't going to depend on it.
Right.
Yeah, like as he said, we put a couple hundred rounds through it, and I'm going to assume that it lost part of that zero for me, like
Maybe.
dropping it.
But there again, I would anticipate that a quality dot wouldn't have lost zero on that. So, I'm gonna say, I was expecting to come out here and within 2 magazines, it was gonna quit functioning. It's a $70, $80 red dot, or green dot.
But that dot was really, really hard to find.
The dot was hard to find. The window is small. Again, for speed of picking up the dot, I personally like the circle dot because the circle indicates, and
it gives you just basically like that generalization of area, just like, oh, well, if the dot's not there, at least I got part of the circle line.
So, buy it for a range toy. Don't buy it to count on for your life, and that's really all that needs to be said about that.
And don't drop it on the ground and kick it like I did.
Great. Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. If you want to help out the channel, one of the easiest way to do that costs you $0 is go ahead and underneath there click that thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you see when we upload new content. If you'd like to go a little further and get yourself some merchandise, you can go to store.tacreview.com, pick yourself up a shirt and a sticker, and just go ahead and bookmark the page because we are adding merchandise all the time. And then finally, you can support us directly through Patreon or Subscribestar. That'll get you early access to the videos, and we're looking to do some more things with and for our monthly contributors, so stay tuned for that. Guys, if you're not following us on social media, you should be doing that. You can get some behind the scenes stuff, maybe some political commentary until we're deplatformed. That username is up on screen, and currently we are on MeWe, Parler, Facebook, and Instagram. So go ahead and follow us over there and join in the conversation. Appreciate you taking the time. Really appreciate you supporting the channel. Until next time, shoot straight, stay safe.
And tally ho.